Yes, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, semi peoples and my gods. Look alive, look alive. It's your boy Act Reacher, a Judge Galvatron presiding. You are all my witnesses and jury. You may all be seated if you're not seated already. Court is now in session. Okay, I thought somebody fell out. Okay, first case on the docket.
First case on the docket will be the LDBC versus the WBC. And in this case, I'll be prosecuting the WBC on behalf of the LDBC. Uh, who will be defending this case? Stay ready. Thank
I'll
you.
be I'll be defending this case, Your Honor. They
All
got
right,
me as their court appointed, so
all right.
I have to be fair.
I want to hear opening statements and testimony. Uh, if you guys don't mind deliberating over this case, whoever wants to go first, I'm open arms.
I
First,
think the process.
I'll lay down the charges of being on the WBC, of being absolute corrupt sanctioning body, um, discriminating, absolute discriminating against black fighters, um, muddling and destroying the sport, the credibility of the sport of boxing. Those are the charges that I lay the WBC with.
I think these are trumped up charges, Your Honor. We're equally discriminatory to get against everybody. It's in our rule book.
Is that both parties opening statements, or are you going to
No, that was
further
the charges.
deliberate? Oh, that was just. Oh, okay. That was just the arraignment.
We definitely got to further. We definitely got to further negotiate. So I would like for the prosecution to go first because they're the ones bringing up these charges on my client, Your Honor.
All right. Uh, I second that motion. Uh, if you don't mind, prosecution, the counselor would like you to make your opening statement.
It's not a problem, Your Honor. Um, Firstly, I wanted to once again state how they're discrediting boxing and muddling the sport. They're supposed to be a reputable sanctioning body, but nowadays they're more so looking like a clothing line, a high price clother that we're looking for. Your Honor, may I please bring some exhibits to the stand? Some not only exhibits, uh, pertinent evidence to this case.
Proceed.
Exhibit A, we see the WBC is the new drip. You see all the different belts that the WBC has came out with. So why not come out with a clothing line? God damn it! You have the franchise belt. You got the world belt. You got the interim belt. You got the diamond belt. You got the silver belt. You got the Palooka belt. You got the Maya belt. Well, they had the audacity to have Tyson Fury and Otto B. Wildin fight for. They have the Mazahua belt. And don't forget the newly, well, not so new, but the newly minted WBC wristband. Huh? The WBC wristband. So not only do they got belts, they got accessories too. These motherfuckers got accessories too. This is not a sanctioning body. This is a high price clother. And don't forget, with these belts that they making, it's none other than leather from none other than Ferrari. Straight out of Italy, they're using Ferrari leather for these belts, for these different type of belts and wristbands. But we gonna get into that later on in some further, later exhibits in a day. But once again, are they really a sanctioning body or are they the new drip? You know what I mean? But let's go to Exhibit B. Let's go to Exhibit B here because let's get down to the nitty gritty because one thing I know is that they're creating unnecessary weight classes. I know y'all heard of it. I know y'all heard of this new weight class called the Bridger weight, huh? The Bridger weight. Now let's see what's going down. You know what I mean? Because we had a fighter named Oscar Rivas, a former heavyweight. He just fought a guy named Sylvain Lewis. In French, it's Sylvain Louis. Huh? He was 8-4, 8 wins, 4 losses. This is a rematch. Now, this was a title eliminator for the WBC Bridgerweight belt. Rivas ended up knocking Louis or Lewis out in 3 rounds, I believe. And now it's been confirmed that the first Bridgerweight championship has been made and will be going down to Montreal between Oscar Rivas and Bryant Jennings. Yes. So once again, auspicious situation. Rivas fighting in an eliminator with a guy that's 8-4. Absolutely ridiculous. Once these Bridgerweights, it once again divides the heavyweights, and will it make absolutely the cruiserweights obsolete? The cruiserweights are already obsolete, and now we're putting another division in between that and the heavyweights. Not a good look. Not a good look at all. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna end off my opening statements with staying off code. You know what I mean? We hear these terms about staying on code. Well, let's talk about the WBC totally staying off code with regards to African American fighters and black fighters, none as such. You know what I mean? But once again, we see these
Objection, Your
franchise.
Honor. He's not going through his exhibits. I can't see what he's using.
Overruled. Overruled. Let him finish.
No,
Let
but
him
he
finish.
he he got the exhibits up. He's going exhibit A, B, and C. I can't see them. He's supposed to be going through his PowerPoint, Your Honor.
You know what? I'm sorry. Sustain. Let could it could he? Is there a way, prosecutor, that you could let the counselor see it? I apologize, counselor. I apologize. I didn't know you couldn't see it. I thought you were being petty. I'm
How you
sorry.
mean you can't see it? I'm sharing my screen.
No,
You
but you
can't.
just clicked on the exhibit C. You were still on exhibit A. It was on the screen. Don't try to play.
Yeah.
Don't try to play. I
Huh?
know your type. Yeah, I know your game. You trying to keep me away from the
Nah,
evidence.
I
From the
don't know what
evidence.
you're talking about, bro. I've been going through the exhibit same way, and you talking about you can't see. You can't see what? You can't see the screen,
Your Honor,
or you
wasn't he just on
interrupted, or you
exhibit A?
interrupted my, or you interrupted
Like
my
I
opening
said,
statement.
prosecutor, I said sustain. Could you make him see it better? Is there a possible way that you could make
I
him
don't know
see it, prosecutor?
if you can you see it,
I
Judge?
so
All
If I
so
right.
say, can you
so
see it? All
prosecutor,
right.
I can see it
Yes.
now, but you wasn't cycling through them. You just left exhibit A on the screen. I can't see the little bitty on the side. When you clicked on exhibit C,
Maybe because your Texas internet is delayed, bro.
no, you never clicked on exhibit B.
All
And
right. All right. Order. Okay. Okay. I figured out a way. All right. Counselor, if you don't mind, could you paraphrase or either recite what the exhibits are, being that the counselor can't see or read what's
no,
going
I
on?
can see him now. As long as he's clicking on them when he go into them, we're fine.
Okay. Okay. All right. Counselor, prosecutor, please proceed if you don't mind.
Staying off code with the WBC. Now, we talking about these egregious franchise belts that they've rewarded to so far two Latino champions and one Eastern European champion. That's currently, you know what I mean. There is rumors. You know what I mean, solid rumors that a third Latino champion will be awarded with a franchise belt, and that's none other than Juan Estrada. But now we got both uh two undefeated African American fighters by the name of Devin Haney and Jamal Charlo, um with these situations happening with this franchise belt. They've been negatively affected with this franchise belt situation. They've been handed, pretty much elevated and handed a belt that's been discredited once again, discredited, while two other champions are being protected from not having to fight their quote unquote mandatories, quote unquote number one rivals. Now we have a long reigning champion by the name of Gary Russell Jr. that's reigned as WBC champion for over 5+ years, but yet there's no absolute none consideration for him to be a franchise titleist. So that tells me that this franchise is not for no type of prestige or legacy. It's only for the need to protect or deflect a fighter, per se, an African American fighter, from not fighting a marketable Latino fighter. Once again, we have Ryan Garcia winning a title eliminator against Luke Campbell, um, conclusively, spectacularly, with a body punch KO. Um, but instead of taking that title shot against Devin Haney in his next fight, because it is a title eliminator, you know what I mean? And actually, he did win an interim WBC lightweight strap. He is running around the streets of San Diego with an interim strap, but yet he's declined to fight. And the WBC allows this to happen, and does not strip him of his status and strip him of that interim. See, what did they do? What do they do? they order a second eliminator, a second bullshit eliminator with Javier, 4 tuna, 2 tuna, 3 tuna, no, 4 tuna. Those are my opening statements, Your Honor. The defense proceed.
Can you hear me, Your Honor? So I'm gonna need all right, fella, because you are prosecutor, and this is your you are the prosecutor, and this is your evidence. These are your exhibits. Can you go back to Exhibit A one time for me, and for the people in the audience?
Proceed.
All right. So as of on, I'm gonna. You'll see. You'll see. So the opening statement, Your Honor, is without sanctioning fees, a sanctioning body can't live. So our job is to maximize a way that our sanctioning body can continue on by making money. So without those sanctioning fees, we can't live. At the end of the day, we're a business, Your Honor. So we have to make money by any means necessary. So when we bring up all these titles are for us to make money. Whether it's a franchise belt, the actual world championship, the interim title, the diamond. Most of these belts are going to people that are already paying their sanctioning fees and already in our top 15 in most divisions. These are our titles on how you get ranked and how you get set up for your mandatories and how you move up in the sanctioning bodies. As for items like the franchise belt, well, I'm gonna go to the franchise. I'm gonna wait till we get back down to Exhibit C to speak on the franchise belt. But I do want to talk about the world title. That's the actual champion in the division. Is the world title the number one interim title? Is strictly for if the world champion decides he moves up or something happens to where he pops dirty or he has to relinquish his title, then the interim champion moves in his spot. That is the champion. That's basically the person who takes that position if the belt is dropped or relinquished. The diamond title is not.
Objection,
Hold on.
objection. Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia did not. How did he obtain the interim belt? By
He fought for it.
defeating Luke Campbell. There was no situations where there was injury or nobody or someone just moved up.
Luke Campbell was the number one contender, Your Honor.
He was.
He was the mandatory, Your Honor.
He was. Overruled. Continue.
The diamond belt, Your Honor, is not a true title. The diamond belt is a trophy that we give for anytime we think that it's a classic fight being made. In the instance that if Earl Spence and Terence Crawford was the fight, even though Earl Spence does have the world title, we would put the diamond belt for a trophy. It's a trophy belt. Just like the frontline title. The frontline title is a trophy belt. But you see, he didn't have the frontline title on his exhibit. But I just wanted to mention that. The silver title, that's a positioning title. That's for a top 5 opponent. You know, the rest of them, it's just so you can get noticed. We even have a North American belt. We even have a European title. We have an African title. These are titles that help these individuals move up and be known in our sanctioning bodies and get ranking in the sanctioning bodies. Can you click on Exhibit B for me?
Proceed.
All right. So with the Bridger weight, we felt it was time to kind of distinguish between the heavyweight and the cruiserweight because it's an excess of weight. We're not saying because we've seen it in the past with fighters like Henry Armstrong and with Canelo. Just because you're not at heavyweight don't mean that you can't fight at heavyweight. You can move around and not be at that maximum weight. You can be below weight and still fight at the maximum weights. But if you want to fight at Bridger weight, you're fighting at Bridger weight on your own accord. We're not asking you or making you move down. Brian Jennings and Oscar Rivas can make the weight. They felt like it would be great for them to become the first champions at Bridger weight. They decided that's where they wanted to be. They didn't have to. They could have continued to fight at heavyweight, but they decided to go ahead and fight at bridgerweight. I don't see a problem with it. I felt like since my client wanted to make a new weight class, and they got a build up for that weight class. Why not? It's extra money for everybody. They could be making more money at bridgerweight being a champion and getting known for being a WBC champion at a weight class, and at the same time, we're collecting more money so our business can continue to function. Can you go down to Exhibit C, Your prosecutor? So Exhibit C, he was speaking on the franchise title. Well, with the franchise title is not rewarded, Your Honor. The franchise title is only requested. If you go back and look, Canelo requested to be a franchise champion. Lomachenko requested to be the franchise champion. Eddie Hearn requested that Estrada be the franchise champion and that they put that belt on the line for the rematch with Chocolatito. We abide because that will continue. That will make us continue to get sanctioning fees from these fighters, and we can have somebody else become a world champion. So they could spend money on these sanctioning fees, and we can actually have a world champion, and the franchise title can move up and partition the fight for the world title in different divisions. I understand a lot of people don't understand or don't like the franchise title, Your Honor, but it's still new and we're still working out the kinks. But for the most part, the only way you can get the franchise title is if you request it, Your Honor. And as far as Devin Haney and Jamal Charlo being ducked, well, Lomachenko, he asked for the franchise title, Your Honor. So once he asked for the franchise title, we felt it was our obligation to elevate Devin Haney to be the champion. So now he is the WBC world champion. As far as Jamal Charlo being dubbed, well, it's nothing we can do about that when a fighter moves up in division. You know, when he was at the division and Charlo was his mandatory, he was fighting Triple G at that time, so he was fighting the unification fight, and they had the rematch clause. Then he decided to move up. They only fought once between 2 years. I mean, twice in 2 years. So I understand that he felt that way, but we was trying to make that. We did call for that fight to happen, but then he decided to move up and fight Rocky Fielding. Then he decided to move up again and fight Sergey Deverenchenko. So he moved up in weight classes. He no longer held the title. We gave the title to Jamal Charlo. And as far as Gary Russell is fighting his mandatories. We don't have any of the top fighters over there in our sanctioning bodies because they're not paying the sanctioning fees. So we can't make them fight Gary Russell Jr. and we can't award him a franchise title. Now, if he requests a franchise title, we would more than happily give one of our longest reigning champions the WBC franchise title. And as far as Ryan Garcia State is paying us sanctioning fees. We've called for him to fight for Javier Fortuna, and the winner of that fight, Devin Haney. Oscar De La Hoya has actually tried to make the Devin Haney fight, but Ryan Garcia says he wants to fight Pacquiao or Tank next. But if they don't make that fight, we're calling for him to fight Javier Fortuna in the title eliminator, and the winner of that fight has to fight Devin Haney. If they don't fight, then he will no longer be in our sanctioning body. And I'm done with my opening statement, Your Honor.
Is there any counter arguments or objections of the counselor's opening statement in defense?
Your Honor, I would like to proceed with my closing arguments, my closing evidence that I would like to bring to the table, so to speak.
Oh, there's more. You got more exhibits.
Yes, one last exhibit that I would like to present to you and the jury. That
Objection, Your Honor. Why wasn't these brought up during opening statements or during the actual case itself, Your Honor? Why are they coming up in closing arguments?
These aren't closing arguments if you want to still argue them. However, these are my closing. These are my closing statements, because
so
really and truly, Your Honor, he's interrupting. It's not your turn.
I'm
Thank
I'm
you.
objecting, Your Honor.
It's-
If these are his closing
If
statements
you're
and this is his
objecting, then you
closing
need to say
argument, correct, Your
objection.
Honor? But hold on, correct, Your Honor.
Order,
I asked a question.
order, order in this piece. All right, listen. Let him continue. If you have a
I think
counter
this should
argument,
we should go to trial now and then go to closing statements. This should be the trial section. So now this is where we argue and go back and forth. This should be a trial, not a closing. So let's go to trial. Let's take it to trial. We did our opening statement, so let's go to trial. That's my objection, Your Honor, because he's speaking on closing statements, but you can't close if you have further evidence.
that is, he has a point. Sustained. He does have a point, prosecutor. He does. So, are you closing, or do you have more evidence to
Like
present
I
towards
said,
the
I would
case?
like to proceed with the rest of my evidence before I close.
Okay, proceed.
Now, once again, I believe the sanctioned body, the WBC, the World Boxing Council, has definite conflicts of interest. You know what I mean? Now, we see that, like I said earlier in the earlier exhibits about their numerous amounts of belts and how they should become a designer clother. You know what I mean, of belts and accessories. Um, Now I come to understand the maker of the WBC belt is none other than Cleto Reyes. WBC belts are currently handmade by Cleto Reyes with Ferrari leather, and the medallions are made by other unknown artists and jewelers. But what's striking to me that the boxing glove maker Cleto Reyes is associated in making the vaunted WBC belt the vaunted WBC belt. Now another connection with a glove, I think that's a conflict of interest is Path Sport. Now we look at Path Sport and where does Path Sport become familiar? It becomes familiar with my client. Tyson Fury, who, mind you, has taken a plea deal, so we can speak on this thing. But Path Sport is under scrutiny for having tampered gloves. Now, let's look at the partners that are partnered with Path Sport. Yes, we see K2 Promotions, who's uh, uh, Triple G is affiliated with. KMG, I believe that's Klitschko, as you see his nose right there. Felix Sturm, who's a convicted felon, former champion that gave Oscar De La Hoya a run for his money. But down here in the bottom right corner, we see the WBC shining right there. You know what I mean? The WBC is partnered with this scrutinized a glove company as well as Cleto Reyes. Don't forget Cleto Reyes was the glove that the fighter was found against Oshaki Foster. We found some tampered Cleto Reyes shipped straight from the Cleto Reyes factory, a WBC approved glove. And what did the WBC do when they further investigated it? They said, no harm, no foul. Your Honor, those are the last of my exhibits. Conflict of interest. It's absolutely ridiculous that none of the none of the, we stated that these the sanctioning bodies um making all these different type of belts for the fact that they want to generate more money not for the boxer but for themselves, more money not for the boxer but for themselves, not for the fans but for themselves. You see all different type of conflict of interests where they're how they're supporting and protecting certain fighters with bigger marketabilities or with certain type of persuasions that they prefer. Now we're looking at this last exhibit with the conflict of interest with these gloves, the belt maker, this Cleto Reyes, and they're officially partnered with another European German glove maker and Pathin Sport that is definitely under scrutiny with their tampered gloves in the Wilder Fury fight. Your Honor, I rest my case.
Now, counselor, do you have any counter arguments or anything of that sort before?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, and gentlemen of the jury, and gentleladies of the jury, also people in the audience, I want y'all to understand if I'm a business, that means I'm gonna have business dealings with other companies. I can't control what another company does with their company. The only thing I can do is just they're into the boxing. They make our belts. Okay, they might make gloves or handle gloves on the side. That's cool. Cleto Reyes, he makes our belts. These are the prettiest belts in boxing. You can't tell me no other belt in boxing look better than the WBC green belt. It's not happening. He makes the best belts in boxing. So you want me to just stop dealing with him and just say he got the best leather? Damn, let me go over here and deal with somebody else. He's been dealing with us for years, Your Honor. I can't just cut off ties, and he's been great to us. He's loyal. Now, as far as the Pathin Sports, well, Your Honor, what they do is make gloves. We don't know that they're the ones that tamper with the gloves. How do I know that when Fury got in there with his trainers and they tampered with the gloves? We seen video evidence of Fury sparring partners going and grabbing gloves that he had that wasn't Pathin that they tampered with. So it's not Pathin's fault that the gloves are being tampered with.
Objection. Those championship gloves are sealed and taken out at the fight.
They are taken out at the fight. They are taken out at the fight. But at the same token, once we sign off and they put the gloves on, they can move that cotton around. It's not hard. We've seen it done in the past multiple times. And it's not up to the WBC to inspect the gloves. It's up to that state athletic commission to inspect those gloves. So if they're not doing a proper job inspecting the gloves, then that has nothing to do with the WBC. That's on the state. So I think we should bring the state of California up to trial because of the tempered gloves.
That'll have to be a separate trial, counselor.
Yes,
Okay,
but that's just stating facts that the California Athletic Commission, the ones that inspected the gloves, allowed the gloves to be used. We're not there to inspect the gloves. We can't partition for certain gloves to be used. It's on the fighters to bring in the gloves, and it's on to and whatever that state agrees or have in their rules that they allow for the fighters to use. And if Pathin is one of the gloves that they allow to use, Your Honor, then it's on the state athletic commission. It's not on the WBC. So as far as our business dealings with companies like Pathin or Cleto Reyes, well, Your Honor, we've been dealing with them for years, and this hasn't been a problem until now because of tampered gloves. But we have no thing on anything being tampered with. We can't go in there and inspect the gloves. That's all on the athletic commission, Your Honor. And I rest my case.
Passing the buck.
Your Honor,
I'm not passing the buck. I'm giving you the 100% fact. I've been at these fights. I've watched these fights. I've been at WBC championship fights, and I've never seen the WBC and they're checking gloves. It's always been the athletic commissioner of that current state, whether it's New York, whether it's New Jersey, Philly, Las Vegas, Florida, Texas, California. The WBC don't check gloves.
I didn't say they did check gloves, nor am I saying that they should check gloves. What I'm saying in that is there's a conflict of interest that a sanctioning body is partnered with with glove companies that are under scrutiny.
But what? But have the
Grants
glove?
is not under
But
scrutiny.
Okay,
but
okay,
Rival Grants
gentlemen,
are under
order,
scrutiny.
order, order. It's looking real kangarooish. It's looking
but
real kangarooish, gentlemen.
but
It's
Your
looking
Honor,
real kangarooish.
you're right.
One
So
at a
Your Honor,
time.
may I
One at a
continue?
time. We're not
May I
animals.
may I continue, Your Honor? Like
Proceed.
the gloves haven't, they're under scrutiny, correct? But isn't aren't we in a country to where you're innocent until proven guilty? Have they been coming up to trial? Have anybody stopped people from using Paffin gloves yet? Paffin sports gloves yet? If they're still being used, then why can't I associate myself with somebody that's making money and I continue to make money with these guys as business partners? Like we can't continue to live in a world where somebody is guilty until they're proven innocent. No, the law states that you're innocent until proven guilty. They haven't been proven guilty yet, Your Honor.
This is true.
So I can't. I'm not going to stop associating myself with them unless it's proven that they're the reason and they have something to do with these gloves being tampered. And I don't think they do. I think it's the fighter themselves or the fighters camp. Yeah.
Your Honor,
You wanna
Proceed.
there's no other sanctioning body, whether it's the WBA, the IBF, or the WBO, that are partnered with glove makers such as Grant, such as Rival, such as No Boxing, No Life, such as AJ Boxing, such as Hayabusa, such as Winning, but we're allowing the WBC to befriend and affiliate themselves with a factor in the sport. Cleto Reyes, and now Paffin Sport on a smaller degree. Once again, I believe there's a conflict of interest, and it goes down to the unscrupulous, the the degradation, and them not following their own rules, not staying disciplined, and not staying on track to their own rules and regulations. It goes on par with those type of situations. A company that we're sanctioned by, that we can allow to make belt after belt, and those belts are made by a company that is currently being under scrutiny, ongoing. We don't know that the cases that are that potentially are piling up, but the fact remains that this is not a common affiliation. We have three other major sanctioning bodies, and they don't have affiliates with gloves. Why does the WBC?
So, Your Honor, where in the law does it states that I cannot have business partnerships with other sporting organizations that might make gloves, might make jump ropes, might make rings, um, might make anything dealing with the sport of boxing? It's just affiliations and sponsorships. And just because we might sponsor another company, that doesn't stop us from doing business. We're not creating a monopoly. We're not the only. It's not like we own the glove company. The glove company is owned by itself. We're partners and sponsors of that company. It's nothing in the law that states that we can't have a partnership with or any kind of business partnership with another company. Just because we're utilizing other companies and making them bigger, and other sanctioning bodies aren't doing that, that is not my problem or my concern. My only concern is my client and them making their money for their company.
Your Honor, I have a question for the defense.
Yes, sir.
But it doesn't have anything to do with the gloves. First off, Your Honor, excuse my tardiness. It was crazy on the Beltway on the way here, but I made it. But my question for the defense is: can you please address the Franchon Cruz Discern debacle and the raising of levels of testosterone in Aunt Jimenez, and the elongation of getting the belt back to the rightful owner?
This is true.
So, Your Honor,
this is why I rendered the WBO not guilty for those that missed episode 6.
Yeah. So Your Honor, we was just waiting
because
and doing a full investigation on everything. We didn't. The WBC didn't want to rush to. We understood that a lot of people were rushing to strip her and find out, but we wanted to know what was going on and everything, because we understand we're living in a new era now, as you say, where you got people wanting to be something that's not on their birth certificate. You got women born as men born as women, and then you got states allowing all this. We don't know where we sit with this, so we're just trying to find accordance with everything that's going on. We don't, that's a woman, but she's transitioning herself in other ways. She might not be fighting at women's boxing in a little bit. She might move over to men's boxing. So she's trying to transition her body and get ready for surgery. So we were just doing a proper investigation, and we didn't want to get scrutinized by the world for jumping to conclusions and stripping her too fast. With this whole new cancellation culture and the Me Too movement, Your Honor, we didn't want to jump to conclusions on that. The Me Too movement is running the world right now, Your Honor.
Franchon Cruz belt still hasn't been mailed to her.
Now that, Your Honor, I don't know why. I think it got lost in the mail. Okay. But
surely you got a better excuse than that, counselor.
She is the champion, Your Honor. We did give her a championship status back.
Okay.
You guys did after the WBO let her keep.
Yeah, they let her keep it, but
they never stripped it from
the IBF never gave her a belt back.
I know. WBO stood alone.
But hold on, the WBC gave her a belt back, so she still is the WBC and the WBO champion. The IBF has not returned her belt. We gave her a belt back after we did a thorough investigation, Your Honor. We did a thorough investigation.
Any counter arguments? Anybody? No witnesses? Any more witnesses that want to, or anybody in the jury? So I can render verdict.
Please.
Yes. Please, Your
Honor. In the case of the WBC versus LDBC, we find the defense guilty and sentence him to 100 years.
100!
Man,
how long? Hold on. How long does it take a tree to grow?
Bro, I don't know. Y'all got me over here feeling like a sucker trying to goddamn me defend the WBC.
You did well, brother. You did well.
Hey, yo,
can't even front.
Hey, yo, you was
can't
winning.
Even front. You did well.
You did good though. You did do good though. Can't hate.
You see, you was winning. You dribbled all over that motherfucker. His
You dragged it a little bit though, man.
His pieces.
Yeah.
And he came with you. Yeah, you crippled all around that real good. You was doing good. You know what I'm saying? You fell right at the end though.
Yeah, it was the end that got me. I didn't know what to do when you threw that one at me. I'm like, God damn, bro. The whole time I've been over here typing in my phone, figuring out ways I could defend him and going around everything that he was saying.
Yeah, you did.
That last one got me.
Yeah.
That last one got me. God damn.
Don't let our fella drag you into that long thing, man. Don't let him drag you into that, bro. Just make your case, cause this dude be bringing up
Hey,
extra points.
I wonder why I didn't bring up that Black Lives Matter belt neither. You know what I'm saying?
I
They kind
brought
of
it
hurt
up
the
though.
black community.
I actually brought it up.
They kind of hurt the black community. I thought I was gonna kill him with that one.
Yeah.
I brought up that front line. I used it on him. I had to bring up the front line belt.
But yeah, y'all didn't say Black Lives Matter. Y'all dancing around there with that frontline shit. You said.
Yes, I said front line. I used it. Oh man, that shit right there was hell, dog. Y'all don't even understand. I feel like a sucker right now.
Nah, man, it's all good, man. We all get them cases, man. We all done had those. That shit come across the desk, you be mad.
All right, we got my boy Mark Nash in here. My fault, Mark. He's salute. I don't know if you. I know you're supposed to be in the building. I know you're supposed to be a special witness. I don't know what case, but.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Terence Crawford,
Oh,
the
okay.
unbiased content creator, will be brought to the stand for the Terence Crawford case.
Is that up next?
Yeah.
I believe actually, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
Next case on the next case on the docket.
Yeah.
And Monty's prosecuting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
I like this. I gotta make sure I change the title of this special guest, Monty Brown. We never had Monty Brown on Night Court. This is gonna be fun.
Yes.
Opening testimonies,
The
opening
case number
statements.
two. Case number two is the LDBC versus Terrence Bud Crawford. Monty Brown TV will be prosecuting, representing the LDBC and prosecuting Terrence Bud Crawford, and I myself will be defending Mr. Crawford. But
Okay.
first off, Monty Brown.
Hold on.
What are the charges?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Make sure. What's the charges?
Well, the charges is this man ran around with defamation of character, right? Slandering the man's name. You know, him and his team has been slandering the man's name, and they have been trying to force my client, right,
Okay.
into
Okay.
a 50-50 split. But I just want to bring him, you know, for defamation of character, saying that he wants something, right? He wants something so bad, but when it's time for him to get it, you know, he's turning his back on him, Your Honor. He don't want to. He don't want to play ball.
LBC want to be a witness.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. Can I send him a link, Your Honor?
I don't know how many could be yours, bro. We might have to flip one in and one out.
You should be able to ask him.
I'll take a step back. You want me to take a step back?
You can go and get my question.
He should be able to add one more.
I can go and take the stand though, and I'll slide out and jump back in the chat.
He's out there. I hear that. Mark, my dude.
No, it's
Mark
all
with
love,
it,
man.
Mark.
It's all love, but shit, nigga, I've been in court to enough. This shit giving me PTSD over here. Nigga, I'm over here having anxiety.
That's what my uncle watching it right now. My uncle said the same shit. He an old school nigga, he an 80s dude. So word.
But I love it though. I love the platform. I love what you're doing. Let's keep it moving though.
Appreciate it. All right, yeah, it's whatever, Mac. You can send it to him, definitely. Whoever gonna make their opening statement first, or
I can make my opening statement. Or am I waiting?
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Prosecution, you go.
yeah, this guy, Terence Bud Crawford, right, has been running around, Your Honor, saying that he want to fight that he really don't want. You know, so we want to just take it back to when he first came up to the 147-pound division, right? They asked this man multiple times the fighter that he's looking to fight. This man said he's looking for Keith Runtime Thurman, who's running now, Yana. We still don't know where he at. You need to put an APP out on him. But this man said he won't keep One-Time Thurman when he came to this division, right? Then he turns, once he get his title, he came and got his title, did his thing. We respect him for that one. He couldn't get the Keith Thurman fight. Keith Thurman went out on the injury. So he went and fought, someone that was shot in the leg. But we ain't going to go too far into that because, he's dealing with his own trials and tribulations. But he went and fought someone that was shot in the leg. Following the blueprint that his promoter put out for him, who really don't give two nothings about him. And after that, he pretended like he wanted to fight again, Yana, but he went and signed a new deal. He sent his manager to sign a new deal for $33 million, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it was supposed to be for a certain amount of fights. But they still dragging my client name through the mud, and they still fronting out here like they want to fight. So at that time, he had his manager come on Trill Boxing Talk and talk about the money that they was getting, right? And let alone, his manager is just so disrespectful, right? This man just, I don't know what's wrong with him. He's a little chubby guy, eat a lot of Big Macs, you know what I mean? So I know he got some Zuzus and Wham Whams.
Objection.
What is your objection?
He likes Whoppers. He likes
Overruled.
I know he got
Let him proceed.
Right? He's a disrespectful manager. So this man comes out and tell my client that he's getting paid paycheck to paycheck and that they got a little contract sticking his tongue out. Right? He has his little 999 face on. Right? Just don't know how much money my client is making. But I'm gonna get back to the serious points. Now, we fast forward to this day. This guy has fought B- and C+ fighters, while my client has fought A-level fighters. And this man coming out and he's saying he want a 50-50 split to fight my client.
Objection. Are we showing partiality in the LDBC? Who is your client? Errol Spence?
I can't speak his name.
Did you make your Freudian slip?
I can't speak his name.
Speak of a free smoke?
I can't speak his name, Your Honor. But this man.
Let him proceed. You will have your chance to counter argue.
Thank you, Your Honor. But this man is out here running around like he the biggest, baddest thing in the division. He got his fans out here. They running around like he the biggest, baddest thing in the division. And this man haven't done anything at the division. He haven't done anything. He won the title and we give him credit for that. But now we at a point to where this guy, he don't want to come talk to his peoples, right? He avoid his people by any means necessary, even though these are the people that really ride for him. He want to go talk to everybody else. Achenbach. He can go talk to my man Fight Hub. I'm all right. He can go talk to Fight Hub. He can go talk to Ellie Setback. When it comes to the LDBC, right? His own kind of people, the black community, he shows no respect, Your Honor. No respect. And these are the people that have been buying his pay-per-views that flop, right? These are the people that was riding for him, pushing for him back when he was a nobody, but now that he's somebody, he turned his back. But now, Your Honor, the main thing is this. The people want to see him go up against my client, right? And we offering this man a 60-40 split of a hell of a lot of money, let alone it's going to be his biggest payday. A hell of a lot of money. So now he's running around saying 50-50 or 60-40 his way. Now that he can't get 60-40, nor is he going to get 50-50, right? Now he's running around saying it's no fight. He don't want to fight. Now he done got all these people riled up. He done led all his sheep to the slaughterhouse. We one fight away from him getting into that ring to fight for undisputed, like I say, that the people want. And now he's reneging on the fight. He's reneging. This man has done 2 pay-per-views, Your Honor. 2. That equal up to $250,000. My client done 3 pay-per-views that equal up to $1 million buys. So if you do that times 75, it's not even close, Your Honor. It's not even close. So we offered this man a 60-40, turned it down. You know, I got into it with one of his families in the streets. I don't know if you know, prosecutor Oddfellow put him up on me or not. You know, I heard he got pulled out here, but you know, we gonna leave that alone. But as people ran into me on the streets and they telling me, oh, we got the prosecutor in a chair, they're gonna be FTV. So, right, we offered this man a 60-40, he turned it down. Now we have 2 scraps, Your Honor. We're going for our third scrap. Third scrap. And we still trying to get this man 60-40, and he still refused to accept the deal. He still refused to accept the deal. So what I want, Your Honor, I want this man to quit the defamation of character, right? I want this man to tell the truth, and I want this man to fight somebody. This man has another fighter that's on his tail that he's ducking, and he's trying to front like he's trying to get another fight that's not coming his way. But he's running around here talking about my client like he just some Rudy Poo. They got people out here, you know, calling my client all type of names. They calling them, you know, just derogatory names, you know, slandering his character when a man is doing everything the right way. So I stand up for the LDBC, the community that rode for this man for years and years, that he turned his back on. And I'm standing up for my client, Your Honor, to bring this man down and to find this man guilty, right? Because any man that run around here and can't keep his word, or any man that's running around here and that can't keep it real, especially coming from where we come from, you know, I just feel like, you know, they need to get what's coming to them, Your Honor. They need to get what's coming to them. And this man is most definitely guilty. And that's my opening statement.
It seems as though yeah, we court. It seems like we got a bit of a recess because but you know what? Proceed. BFTB will be a witness. Proceed. Just note on the record that there will be somebody else deliberating over the case that was supposed to be deliberating over earlier. It may affect the case. Who left? Oh, Red left. Proceed. Steels.
My client is being definitely slagged as being a fraud. Now all of a sudden, I believe it's almost like we're under mediation. There's talks of numbers of who has the biggest market and whatnot, but I'm here to defend my client and exonerate him of all these all these allegations here. And the first allegation that I heard was that he's not a man of his people. He's not a man of his people. But Your Honor, I would like to present this evidence to the stand, if I may.
And do you have a witness with you?
Yes, I do, but I'm not ready to cross-examine my witness.
Okay, I'm letting you know that the prosecution also has a witness that's also in the building. I told you it will be both sides will be noted on the record. This is fair, you know, being that you both have witnesses. Does anybody have any objections with my rule on either side?
No, sir, Your Honor.
None.
Okay. So you may proceed and deliberate, and then you bring your witness, and then I'll have Mr. Brown have his witness. Go ahead, proceed.
Yeah, please, Your Honor, if you May share the stream.
Oh, okay.
You know what we have here is Exhibit C. In rebuttal to the prosecutor's statement that my client is not of the people, not for the people. Now, what we see here is an article in the Yahoo News about Bud Crawford and his co-manager, Bo McIntyre, opening up the B&B Boxing Academy in Omaha to help work with troubled children, right? But he's not one for the people. He's not a man of the people. But he opened a gym, not a gym, an academy to help work with troubled children of Omaha. You know what I mean? Omaha, a forgotten city in the wastelands, wastelands of the Midwest. Don't have no pro teams. Terence Crawford is the pro team in Omaha. But let me add on to why he's a man of the people. He further connected with his childhood teacher, James Nolet, and they now run charitable missions to Africa. And we sit here and listen to you people say that he doesn't want to be amongst his people. On the first of those two trips, which was to Uganda, Crawford did the same thing he done many years earlier as a teenager when he came home from Venezuela. He gave all his personal belongings away to those in need. So this is a regular thing for my client. Bud loves the people. Bud loves the people. Gives all his belongings away when he goes off on his missions. You know what I mean? These are stories we don't hear about my client. These are stories we don't hear about my client. We just hear about, oh, he's not taking 60-40. Oh, Bud need to humble himself. Who is he fighting? What has he done in the welterweight division? What has he done in the welterweight division? Well, let's go to the Exhibit B. Can everybody see Exhibit B first off? Your Honor, the jury, the prosecution, can you see Exhibit B?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Proceed.
We look at, first off, we don't give the credit that Bud is a clean boxer, a pound for pound boxer, a multi-divisional champion, an undisputed champion, but he's also a clean boxer. And what it states here is that he's enrolled with the VADA clean boxing program. His enrollment expires in 2022. March of 2022. Terence Bud Crawford, my client, is a clean fighter. But you want to talk the dirtiness of money. You want to talk the dirtiness of the business, knowing good and well that my client is not his own entity. He's not his own promotional group. He's contractually tied to top rank promotions that we all know. And what we do also know, most of us on this panel know, most of us in the jury know that Bob Arum is a major obstacle in a lot of big fights happening, and especially with his African American fighters. Especially with his African American fighters. But to carry on with Exhibit B, which is not remarkable, but it must be stated that my client has defended the WBO title 5 straight times. 5 straight times, and my predecessors, the prosecutions, turned their nose up at that. They turned their nose up at Jeff Horn, who gave a beating to Manny Pacquiao. But Manny Pacquiao is the man that everybody's chasing at welterweight. Manny Pacquiao is the man that everybody's chasing at welterweight, from Mikey Garcia, from Keith Thurman, to trying to get that rematch, to Errol Spence Jr., right down to Terence Bud Crawford, my client. But what did he do? He got rid of Jeff Horn, dispatched him, got the belt, in hopes that Manny Pacquiao will come around back for his old belt. But that didn't happen. He took his chances with Keith Thurman over on the PBC side. He defended his belt against Jose Benavidez Jr., albeit he might have been injured a little bit, but he was an undefeated prospect at 27-0. A tricky prospect with his height and agility. But the same ailments that Benavidez Jr. had were the same ailments that Jose Sebastian Highland had. And we don't take that away from Jamal Charlo, do we? Moving on to
Objection,
Amir
Your Honor.
Khan.
I never brought in any other
I knew
fighter.
that. I
What?
knew it. Bring him.
What?
I knew it. Bring him up.
I stayed on
What
my
is the
client.
objection? What is the
I
objection?
object.
I stayed
I
on my
object.
client and the plaintiff, Your Honor. No
Your
other
Honor,
fighter. Never spoke on any other fighter.
Your Honor, if I may interject, Your Honor, I have not had the opportunity to speak. I object to what counsel says. If I have the opportunity, Your Honor.
What is your objection?
Your Honor, first off, relevant. Sebastian Heelan Highland Janikowski does have nothing to do with the prosecution of Terence Bud Crawford. But if we're going to bring him up, we must also state the fact that he was the mandatory. Jose Benavidez was not the mandatory for nothing. He was a voluntary. So we have to compare apples to apples and not apples to grapefruit.
My comparison with Sebastian Highland and Jose Benavidez Jr. is their leg ailments. That's my comparison. Sebastian Highland had a massive leg ailment in that Jamal Charlo fight.
Your Honor, I object.
That's a fact.
Again. Your Honor, I object again based on the basis of relevance. That has nothing to do with the prosecution of Terence Crawford. That has nothing to do with that. Again, I bring up again, Highland Heelan Sebastian Janikowski character was the mandatory. So if Benavidez was the mandatory, that would be a totally different story, because he would have no choice but to fight him in order to get his place in the rankings. But
Irrelevant.
that was not the case.
Jose Benavidez Jr. was a 27-0 highly regarded prospect that might have had a small had a small ailment.
Again, Your Honor. Objection again, Your Honor. He was not a highly touted prospect, and even if he was highly touted, that's in a very opinionated statement.
Overruled.
Has nothing to do with relevance at all.
I'm gonna let you talk to the key witness. I just want I just want him, the defense, to get through their portion because, with all due respect, they didn't even really get to go. Uh, I'm gonna open it up after the opening statements before they basically finish to see if anybody has any counter arguments or any key witnesses and things like that. And you guys can shoot for the stars. Uh, Counselor, could you continue and make your point clear and fast? Because we got a lot. We got a lot to cover.
We do, but it would go faster if my my cross examination would consistently be chopped up consistently. But once again, moving on from Jose Benavides Jr., um, he decided to fight. My client decided to fight Amir Khan, who is a silver medalist Olympian, um, good good to great career, um, highly notable boxer in the UK. So it seemed definitely like a marketable situation for my client to fight Amir Khan and get get Amir Khan's name on his resume, where the critics have been saying that my client's resume is somewhat light. So they decided to go with Amir Khan. Uh, he was a good money situation, and the fight, as we saw it, was developing into a good fight, developing into a nice little fight. And my client, uh, I believe, my client was robbed of a spectacular knockout by the actions, by the cowardly actions of Amir Khan, by ultimately quitting from uh, uh, some alleged low blows. But once again, that robbed my client of a spectacular victory, taking some luster uh, off of his momentum. Moving on, he defeats undefeated mandatory contender in Aegis Kaliaskevich, um, the Mean Machine. Um, yeah, had him wobbled at one point. Some may say it was a knockdown. My client believes that both of his hands uh, were on the off the canvas. He didn't touch the canvas, so it wasn't a knockdown. But regardless of the matter, my client secured himself, recovered, and got the job done and stopped the Mean Machine. Stopped an undefeated fighter who is still highly ranked in many sanctioning bodies, but many critics want to discredit the Mean Machine in that victory. Mind you, that my client, once again, mind you, my client is not promotionally free to do whatever he wants. He's promotionally tied to Top Rank, promotionally tied to Bob Arum, who's always been a mega obstacle. Lastly, we have Kell Brook, which is his last fight, who is was once the number one welterweight at 147 at one time. He spent some time at 154, undefeated at 154, and then came back down to fight Bud in a voluntary welterweight championship contest. And my client absolutely spectacularly landed a beautiful kind of right hook slash jab and stopped uh, Kell Brook, a very credible opponent, and stopped him. And but we want to sit here and call my client a fraud and say he's not doing enough, but he's
Sick. I just
all
sick.
he's doing is waiting and biding his time until May, when he's contractually free to go where he wants and make the fights that the fans want. I would like to bring to the stand my key witness, the unbiased content creator, Mark Nash, if I may, Your Honor.
I believe he fell out.
Well,
But
in that case, I'll let the prosecutors rebuttal my exhibits.
okay, fair man, fair man.
Well, does that leave room for me to rebut or?
Monty, are you bringing your
Yes,
key witness,
yes, I am.
BFTB?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
The key witness.
proceed.
Yes, sir.
Please,
The key witness.
Mr.
My brother
BFTB, if
BFT.
you would.
Well, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you to Counsel Monty Brown. So, what I must portray to all that are listening is that Terence Crawford is a liar, Your Honor. He's a blatant liar, and there's no reason to sugarcoat it since we are in a court of law at the current moment. So we'll just keep it 100% honest with ourselves. Terence Crawford has been on a multitude of occasions stating of what he wants to do, and I understand that counsel put out several things about the good trips to Africa and things like that that Terence Crawford has been doing. And rightfully so and gratefully so. I have no towards Terence Crawford with him doing all these frugal and humanitarian things for Black people. I have no issue. I have no issue with that. My issue, Your Honor, and it's always been the exact same issue that I've always had with Terence Crawford, and that's that Terence Crawford claims that he wants undisputed and is doing nothing to get it. That has always been my issue. It has nothing to do with him being a great family man. I've, on dozens of occasions, said that he is just that. It has nothing to do with him being a great steward. The kids and things of that nature. I respect him. I give him kudos and say shout out to Terence Crawford for being a good father and a good family man, and traveling across the world as somehow travel is one step towards undefeated. That has never been my issue. Last year, Terence Crawford to the world that he's moving up to 147 and he wants to become a two-time welterweight. Two-time.
You can't hear my witness, Your Honor.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was me. Witness your mic. Your mic. Yeah, I thought it was on my end, but your mic, witness.
Objection: is this silence relevant to the case?
No, it's not. Sustained. Can we get the mic? Can we get the mic, Mr. BFTB? Oh man, your witness, Mr. Monty Brown. Mr. Monty Brown.
Because he was
There
saying,
we go.
hey man,
My witness
thank you.
is around better connection. And now he's in.
Okay, okay.
Okay, can we have my witness with server witness? When you stepped out the call, we didn't hear you cut out. So if you don't mind going back, could you please repeat what you were saying?
Well, yes, Your
Because
Honor.
this
I
is
have no
valuable to the
problem
case.
repeating what I'm saying. And as a matter of fact, let your star witness pause for about 1 minute. Okay, I'm going to leave the courtroom to get a drink of water. I'm coming directly back to continue. Okay, stand by 1 second. 1 second. I'll be right back.
We'll allow a quick recess.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Your
Your
Honor.
Honor.
Thank you.
Hope you guys are enjoying Night Court. It's been real interesting tonight. Real interesting.
Your Honor, the prosecution has nothing.
Ah man, I
We're in
kind of
recess.
we're in recess. If you don't mind, counsel. Uh,
Let the record show the total reliance on
let the record
on
show that you were supposed to have a witness, sir, and your witness is holding us up like we are in the kangaroo court. Or did you take too long, sir? And then he could grow impatient of waiting.
excuse me taking too long when when you're you're alleging me of bringing some type of kangaroo court when
Your Honor, Your
all
Honor,
you animals were trampling over my opening statements.
Your Honor,
Overruled.
Animals.
Your Honor,
Overruled.
Your Honor.
Yes.
LVZ said let him cook. Is he in the house?
Yes, he is. He is.
But I also want to ask the prosecution a question. If you don't mind, Your Honor. I'm
By
just
all means,
okay.
you're part of the jury.
Yeah. I just want to get a clarification on something. I'm looking over the defendant's resume, and
Yes.
I mean I want to ask the defendant. I mean the defense attorney a question. I don't see but one African American fighter on his resume, but you claim he's fought a lot of notable opponents. But I'm just trying to figure out, like, besides Henry the Hammer Hank Lundy, like, who of notable at 140 and 147 has he really fought besides Eastern Europeans and Mexicans? Because when you look at other fighters in the welterweight division at 140, you had Sean Porter at 140, you had Danny Garcia at 140, you had Regis Prograis and Adrian Broner at 140. But then he neglected to try to fight any of those guys while they were there. When they moved up, he moved up after them, but he reluctantly didn't want to call out Sean Porter or Danny Garcia or Adrian Broner. He called out Sean Porter. I mean, not Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and didn't even call out Earl Spence until Earl Spence became the money man, so he can get a payday. He called out Earl Spence. So I'm just wondering, why is it until now that he only wants to fight certain African American fighters when it's kind of known in the sport of boxing that your tough fights are going to be against the African American fighter? I just want to clarification on that from the defense, Your Honor.
Could you
Sometimes
answer him, please, counselor?
would you allow me to answer him, Your Honor? Thank you. In the Exhibit A, you see here that they say that Bud doesn't fight black fighters. However, I'm showing you 5 black fighters that Bud has fought on his resume. I'm sorry that um y'all are particular and you want Bud just to fight African American fighters, but
Um, Your Honor,
this is a world sport. You had your turn, and
no,
I'm
no, no.
answering your
Look,
question.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
asked
yeah. He's right. He's right. He's right. Let him,
Like,
please.
can these
Let him finish.
animals quiet down and allow the defense to
Objection,
defend?
Your Honor. That's he's doing what his client do. Defamation of character, calling people animals.
Please refrain from
Now,
calling people animals. He's right. Sustained.
then
Please,
please
counselor.
refrain from alluding to the it's a kangaroo court
It isn't
when
a kangaroo court. Everybody's civil. Please.
Captain need to learn how
now
to protect himself.
firstly you see Felix Diaz. You see his big old nappy head afro, but niggas don't want to say he's black. I beg to differ. Black man from the Dominican Republic. Yes, he speaks Spanish, but the nigga is black. You know what I mean? Next, you know what I mean? We got Thomas Delorme. At the time when Bud Crawford fought, my client fought Thomas Delorme, he was 20-1, upcoming prospect, and not even a prospect. He was a contender. Thomas Delorme is originally from Guadeloupe. Y'all know where Guadeloupe is?
Puerto
It's in
Rico,
the
Your Honor.
Caribbean. It's in the Caribbean. Stop it. He
Yes,
was
Your Honor.
the. What are
Yes,
you objecting?
What
What
are
are
you
you
rejecting?
objecting? I'm
I,
educating you
inter-
right now. He's
I
born in
interviewed the man.
Guadeloupe, nigga.
I
He's
interviewed
born
the
in
man.
Guadeloupe and was raised in
I
Puerto Rico.
interviewed the man Thomas DeLore, man. I didn't understand shit he was talking about, Your Honor. The man is not black. They are not black. Nobody on that screen is African American black, Your Honor.
Objection. Objection. This man's not. This man's
Oh,
ignorant to the fact,
overruled.
ignorant
Overruled.
to the fact
Overruled.
They
that
don't
he's saying that
Overruled.
Bud is a white
Prosecutor.
black boxer.
Prosecutor. Prosecutor. Let the defense cook, please. Let him get through it. It's the only way we're gonna be able to let everybody go and defend themselves. I kind of want to bring on some jurors that have points that they want to say and ask right before I let the star witness BFTB cook, because I know he's gonna cook.
But Your Honor, he still hasn't answered my question specifically because when I asked, I said American-born fighters. I didn't say Caribbean-born or South American-born. I was literally speaking
Did you
on
ask that specifically? I didn't.
yes,
I'm
yeah,
No,
sorry,
yes,
I didn't hear.
yes, yes, I did, Your Honor.
uh,
Yes,
uh,
I did.
I
I
said
asked the
potato.
question. But
I
hold
said
on.
you. How can you people be particular and say you need to just fight African American fighters? This is a
No, I'm
global
not saying
sport.
he just need
This
to
is a
fight
global
African
sport,
American.
boxing. He's fighting
Well,
black fighters, and look at the
but
combined fucking record:
Your Honor, but Your Honor,
113-3,
Order,
113-3, and you're saying that he ain't fighting,
order.
and he ain't fighting no
I'm just,
competition, no
Your Honor,
competition.
I'm,
Yorioka Gamboa,
all I did was ask a question.
Order, order in the court.
we know the Cuban school of
Order in the
boxing is
court.
highly ranked. We know the
I,
Cuban school of boxing is highly ranked. The nigga was 23-0 when he fought Yorioka Gamboa and took him out. But y'all want to say you don't fight no black athletic fighters. Moving on. I ain't trying to
Your
mention
Honor, I
Julius
just asked
Hidalgo,
a
but
specific
Julius
question.
Hidalgo is a black fighter that was undefeated, that had, I believe, 2 belts, who was unified, that made eventually my client undisputed. Another black fighter, a black fighter that stands at 6 foot. You know what I mean? That came in at the junior welterweight division at 140. But y'all don't want to give him no credit though. Y'all don't want to give him no credit though. Y'all want to say, oh, Regis beat him better. But you know who softened up in Dongo? You know what I mean? Who softened up in Dongo for Regis? It was my client, Bud Crawford. Moving on to Deary John. Y'all ain't know nothing about no Deary John. You know what I mean? Raised in Montreal, but he was born in Haiti. You know what Haiti is? Haiti was the first, the island. Well, half the island was Dominican Republic on the underside, but half the island revolted against the oppressor. Y'all niggas trying to say this nigga ain't strong. Yeah, this nigga ain't it. This is where Deary John's people from. You know what I mean? Niggas that revolted against the oppressor, that got the motherfuckers out. You know what I mean? Don't try to tell me this nigga ain't fighting no black folks. Deary John is black. At the same time he fought that motherfucker, he was 29-1. You know what I mean? A credible black fighter. My client, Terence Bud Crawford, fights black fighters. That's all I got to say about that.
But Your Honor, like I was mentioning, I asked a specific question. What I asked was that he didn't fight the American-born fighters, and at that time, those American-born fighters were topping those divisions. That's what I asked.
Objection.
No, no, no,
Objection,
no,
Your
no.
Honor. He's a
I'm
world
asking a question.
champion. He's a world champion. We're not talking about the NABF champion, where
But
he's only supposed to fight
Order,
American
order,
champions. He's a
order,
WBO motherfucking world champion.
order,
What do you
order.
niggas don't understand about that?
Counselor, order, order, order.
I
We're,
can't
we're,
ask
we're,
the question. So
we're,
I
we're
just
gonna bring we're gonna bring in some people from the jury. We're gonna
all
see
right.
how they feel real quick, and then we are going to let the star witness
All
do
right.
his thing.
Yeah,
First, I'm gonna
I can't
bring
ask the question, Your Honor. So I'm just
Elvin.
on mute. I just wanted to answer for my question, and I couldn't get it, so I'm gonna just go on mute. I just asked a simple question, and he ran around the ring on me. He pulled a Floyd Mayweather on me. So
He answered it to the best of his knowledge.
no, he didn't.
Even though he didn't give you what you wanted, he that was his version of the black fighters. But I understand what you're saying. You said you wanted specifically African American fighters, which counselor you didn't give him. But let's proceed.
Your Honor, why should I have to give
LBC.
him? Well, why should my client
Let
have
me
to
go.
serve him
Let me,
African American
man.
fighters?
Come on, man. I've been
When
listening to this guy
I
talk.
clearly stated that this is a world
Can I
sport
please
and he's a
go?
world
Can I
champion.
please
He's
go
a
without
world
hearing
order,
our
champion.
fellas
order,
nauseating
order.
voice?
Where is the African
Please
American
mute
belt?
our fellas
Where is the
nauseating
African
ass
American
voice.
belt that my
I'm sick
client
of
is
hearing
strapped
this whack
around?
ass
He's not
accent.
representing the
It's my
African
turn
American
now.
belt. He's
Shut
representing
the
the
fuck
WBO
up.
organization.
Shut your Bama
I
ass
ain't
up.
setting up. I
It's
ain't
my
setting up
turn now,
for the honor.
Bama. I'm one of these people. You coon. You sound like a coon. Talk about these people. Well, let me tell you something. It's a difference between a fucking African and a black man from America. Let me
Thank you.
help you out. I was at the
Objection.
Diaz. I was at the Diaz fight, you asshole. And that
Objection.
asshole had on an All Lives Matter headband. How is that like me?
How is this
Shut that shit up. No, like I was saying, don't nobody count none of them fucking bombs as real fighters. The only person that count them is a moose piss drinking Canadian who would think those bums are good fighters. I have no more to say. Anyways, Canadian bacon eating, maple syrup sucking asshole. LBZ
and you want to discredit them? Get this ignorant nigga off the out of the courtroom.
Your Honor, I would like to back up what that witness said because that witness had a lot of truth to what he was saying, right? We know in America, where we are living now, it is a different style between the African American style, right, and an African or a continent style. Everyone knows the African American style is the most dominant style in boxing, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gentlemen that's on the screen does not possess not a lick of African American style in them. Neither or. I interviewed two of them, Your Honor. I didn't understand shit that neither one was saying. I had to improvise and just act like I did, right? And that was just in respect to them. So these men are not African American. They're not from the streets. They're not from the struggle, right? And I don't think my Counselor our fella is because he don't know the difference. He don't know the difference. So I would like to throw this whole Exhibit A. Just throw that shit out the window and let my superstar.
So you don't want Exhibit A counted towards the record? Is what
I
you
do,
said.
Your Honor. I would, Your Honor.
Okay. I know you.
Objection. This court's showing partiality right
No,
now.
no partiality. No. I'll hold you in contempt for that, counselor. Counselor, don't ever accuse me of showing partiality. I'm trying to let even the jury speak. Renee Boxyoung is going to speak, and then we are going. It's just people are very long-winded in the court. We're trying to get through and be fair and let everybody talk, but then you guys object, and then the point doesn't get finished.
Your Honor, you had a jury bogart the courtroom and come in here and call me a coon because I'm trying to defend a client.
No. First of all, I didn't know that was going to happen. You can't have the court guilty and accused of something like that when we didn't know something like that was going to happen. With all due respect, counselor, I was just trying to let the jury speak their mind, and in our court, we try to be free-minded and free-spirited. We try to let everybody speak their mind. I just didn't know that things. Wait. I just didn't know things was gonna go left. I didn't know things was gonna go left like that. So, with all due respect, counselor, I'm going to let another person from the jury speak, and then after that, we're going to let the key witness speak, and then close the arguments, and then we're going to render verdict.
This is crazy. Because how much juries are going to be on the prosecution?
Well,
why don't you just render the verdict now? Render my nigga guilty. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think the counselor is claiming you of being paid under the table, and I feel like that's so disrespectful towards you because you have been nothing but a nice, Your Honor, through this whole situation.
Objection. The same person
And
that admits
I think he's
that he's a
No,
represent that he's
sustain,
representing
sustain. Let
Emmett
him
Smith
talk.
Jr. and not the LDBC.
I feel like he's looking at you as an African American, and he's saying that you're picking sides, Your Honor.
I'm not picking sides. I'm being completely fair. I left it open. I wanted his witness to go. I thought it would have been beautiful, but unfortunately, I guess, like I said, the witness had things to do. Renee, do you have any quick words to say or anything like that of the jury? Or do you have any questions to ask the prosecution or the defense? That would be
Your
better.
Honor, all I have to say, Your Honor, I just want to be a witness. I have seen throughout the months, what defendant Bud Crawford has done and blatantly lied to the community. I want to be as brief as possible and as professional as possible, Your Honor.
Yes.
We can go back. Several months ago. There are receipts. There is proof. Social media has recorded him on several platforms. He was in the middle of a ring, standing in a gym, and he was being interviewed by several platforms. He came out and said at that time when he was in 147, when he shortly after, approximately when he fought beat Jeff Horn, he said that he was going to move up a couple divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and he said he was dead serious about that, Your Honor. And he blatantly lied to all the viewers, to the platforms that interviewed him, and to the countless number of people watching via social media. Even though defendant Bud Crawford has done wonderful deeds, for people less fortunate, which is amazing. Many philanthropists have done the same thing. Historically speaking, many entrepreneurs have done the same thing, historically speaking, but at the same time, they turn their backs to that same community and do atrocious things. Bud Crawford has done something similarly to that, where he would blatantly lie to the masses. That's just one. We go to recent months. He even talked about social media. You can go as proof to his social media Twitter account. He said he was going to go move down to 135. Another blatant lie to the community. Another one. He also recently said that he doesn't want to fight, and this was before a few days ago. He said he doesn't want to fight Spence. I don't want to talk about him anymore. And then about approximately a week after that, he was interviewed or what have you. He went on social media on Instagram, and he said, "Oh, the fights I really want is Spence and Pacquiao." So another lie, Your Honor. So he's up and down and all around emotionally. He's unstable in what he says. He says one thing and then he changes it up constantly, and that's all I got to say, Your Honor. I just want to speak on of a witness, secondary witness to Mr. Brown, and how unstable Mr. Crawford is. I thank you so much. I'm going to leave now. I'll be as brief as possible. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Now, could I bring my superstar witness on because he's been patiently waiting?
Yes, you may.
Well,
you off the floor.
Well, thank you. There's a lot of rhetoric going back and forth, Your Honor, and counsel. There's a lot of rhetoric going back and forth. No. By all means, please put counsel's exhibit A. By all means. So let's look through counsel's exhibits. If you look to what was said by Terence Crawford, he said Cinnamon Clitoris does not fight black killers. He does not fight slick black fighters. He shies away from them. Those were his words. He shies away from that type of fighter. Your Honor, no one on this screen is that type of fighter. The closest that you can get to it is Gamboa. That's the closest you can get to it. That's the closest. So let's break down each individual one, why don't we?
if you look at Felix Diaz has never been ranked as a killer anywhere, and he lost to Lamont Peterson. Don't care if anybody says he did. Oh, I think he did. I don't care. He lost to Lamont Peterson. Lamont Peterson was the killer. Oh, by the way, Terence Crawford did not fight Lamont Peterson, and they were in the same rank, in the same division at the same time. Those are facts, Your Honor. But he did fight the guy who Lamont Peterson beat. Okay, let's move on. Thomas Delorme, shall we say. Thomas Delorme. Well, who was in the rankings when he decided to fight Thomas Delorme? Who, y'all? Who, Your Honor? I will say Adrian the Problem Broner was ranked higher than him, is what I will say, Your Honor. Those are facts. And he decided to fight Thomas Delorme. Again, Your Honor, what I say to you is what Terence Crawford said. Cinnamon Clitoris shied away from a specific type of fighter. Not every black fighter, a specific type of fighter is what Terence Crawford said. He shied away from a slick fighter. He shied away from some killers. No one on this screen is killers. No one. The only person I see again that's even remotely close to that is Gamboa. But Thomas Delorme, again, when he fought Thomas Delorme, Adrian Broner was ranked either 1 or 2. But he decided to fight Thomas Delorme. I wonder why, Your Honor. Now, we're going to save Gamboa for last. Let's move on now. Thierry Jean, he says. Thierry Jean, 29-1. Yeah, and Thierry Jean was ranked at 135. And where did Terence Crawford fight him at? At 140, where he was never ranked, Your Honor. That's where he fought him at. He chose to not fight him at 135. No, you moved him up from 135 to 140 to fight him there, Your Honor. That's what happened. And then what did Thierry Jean do after fighting said Terence Crawford at 140? He moved back down to 135, where he was campaigning at, Your Honor. That is what happened. And Thierry Jean is not a killer at all. No one has never looked at this man as a killer. No one has never looked at this man as a slick fighter ever. But again, I say, they did look at Gamboa similar to that. Now let's move on. Let's move on, we say. Julius Indongo was not looked at as a killer at all, ever. Julius Indongo only fought Ricky Burns is because they thought Ricky Burns was going to beat him. Julius Indongo won on points. Then Edward Troyanowski thought, okay, we got good food. Because Terence Crawford ducked Edward Troyanowski for years. So then we say, okay, Edward Troyanowski says, I got good food. I'm going to get this belt. He went over there, got a lucky punch, the same way Terence Crawford did with Kell Brook. Whatever, we're not going to go there. Actually, we will later on. But anyways, he got a nice little punch off on Edward Troyanowski and got his belt. That happens in boxing. Anybody can get hit at the wrong time with the right punch and the fight's over with. That doesn't make you a killer. It doesn't at all. Which was proven by Regis Porgray, who was number 6 when Julius Indongo was number 7 that Terence Bud Crawford fought. These are facts. Julius Indongo may have had 2 belts, but he was ranked behind Regis Porgray, who was ranked number 6. That is a fact. Regis Porgray was 6. Julius Indongo was number 7. Those are what we call facts. So instead of fighting Regis Porgray, who he ducked as well at 140, instead of fighting Lamont Peterson, who he ducked as well at 140, he did fight for undisputed against the easiest guy to get, of which one punch with a body shot in round 5, some shit like that. When Regis fought him and destroyed him in 2 rounds or some shit like that. Just throwing that out there. That's what you call a killer. Regis Porgray is a killer, of which you do not see in Exhibit A. Last but not least, the mighty and great Gamboa, 23-0, who never fought at the weight class that he moved up 2 divisions, dare I say, to fight Terence Crawford at his weight class. Oh, he was a champion 2 divisions lower and then moved up to fight Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford didn't move down. No, Gamboa, little tiny Gamboa, moved up and was putting a whooping on his ass and damn near knocked him the fuck out. Damn near stopped this man. Little Gamboa, who moved up, damn near stopped this man. Damn moved up, and no one talks about that. But when it comes to Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence, it's, oh, little tiny Mikey. Little Mikey. But no one talks about how little Gamboa moved up and damn near stopped Crawford. Damn near stopped his ass after moving up. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about it at all. But we say he fought killers. Killers. That is not what Terence Fraud Crawford said. He said they shied away from a specific type of fighter. Well, dare I say, why didn't he fight Amir Imam? Dare I say, why didn't he fight Adrian Broner for 5 years? 5 years, Adrian Broner was ranked in the same division as Terence Fraud Crawford, and for 5 years, he did not fight that man. Did not. But Adrian Broner went on to fight killers. You know, DeMarco, Don DeMarco. You know who he went on to fight. You know, but he was ranked number 1 for 3 of those 5 years, and Terence Fraud Crawford decided to not fight him at all. At all. You go on to fight the Exhibit A's. Exhibit A's. They crucify people for fighting someone's leftovers. Terence Fraud Crawford was never crucified for fighting Lamont Peterson, a real killer's leftovers. He was never crucified for that. Never. They just brushed it under the rug. And last but not least, I will mention one fighter that they don't have on there, who is just as black as everybody on there. Motherfucking Joe Brook. And he ain't black either, but he's just as black as everybody on this motherfucker. But dare I say, and I will leave you with this. Terence Fraud Crawford, moved 147, said that he wanted to smoke with the man who beat the man. He said to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So that's the reason why he called out Manny Pacquiao and Keith Thurman. Neither of them beat Floyd Mayweather. Who was the man? So what made them the man? I have no idea. Keith Thurman never fought Floyd Mayweather at all. That torch was never passed to him. Manny Pacquiao lost to Floyd Mayweather. That torch was never passed to him. So I don't understand how Keith Thurman or Manny Pacquiao were the ones that he wanted to fight and not Kell Brook, who was the #1 welterweight at that time. Kell Brook. He did not fight that man until Errol Spence broke his face, and this man fought for 3 years at 154 just to come back down after saying he couldn't make the weight the year before. In 2019, he couldn't make the weight. But then mysteriously, you fight this man in 2020. Wow. And we're losing. You were losing on the scorecards. You was down. And even Kell Brook himself said, I got caught with a punch I didn't see. That's what happened. You were losing. If you would have saw the punch, you would have lost on the scorecards. You were losing. You were getting your ass whipped. Kell Brook got hit with a punch he didn't see. That was the end of the fight. So again, I say, Your Honor, using Exhibit A, no one on here is a killer. No one. Not one person. Not one. If Gamboa was a killer, why didn't Gamboa do something to Tank Davis? Why didn't Gamboa do something to Devin Haney if Gamboa was a killer? If Julius Ndongo was a killer, why didn't he do something to Regis Poirgray?
Objection.
What the
Gamboa
fuck?
on one leg was able to Gamboa on one leg was able to withstand the Tank for 12 rounds.
Counselor's cutting off my witness.
Overrule.
How many times have they cut me off?
There's no reason to object the witness. None. But again, I say, Your Honor, what has Felix Diaz done at all since, if he's such a killer? What has he done? Nothing. Retired. What has Thomas Delorme done since, if he's such a killer? Nothing. What has Julius Ndongo? Nothing. What has Thierry Jean done? Nothing. If they are killers, Your Honor, which they are not, if they are killers, then their resumes or their actions after fighting the great Terence Fraud Crawford would reflect that. They do not. None of them. They are all regular fighters. They are all the same level fighter that Terence Fraud Crawford has been fighting his entire career. But this is the best that he can present. I say one last thing and I'll leave it at this. Sean Porter demolishes everybody on this screen. Danny Garcia probably beats everybody on this screen. I'll leave it at that.
Your Honor.
Anything before I render verdict?
Your Honor, to quickly rebuttal, combined record of 113-3 when my client fought these black fighters, these so-called black fighters. Honorable mention to Hammer and Hank Lundy, who I didn't have enough space to put on the imagery.
Your Honor, I will ask to have a reply to this, but go ahead.
Okay. I'll grant you that, but I
Now,
wanted to finish.
what the prosecution continuously fails to tell us is the obstacles that always get in the way of making these big fights with other African Americans on rival networks and rival promotional groups. We know Bob Arum is a major obstacle in getting these fights done because, Your Honor, you rendered him guilty in episode, I believe, 4 for doing those same criminal actions as such. Eddie Hearn has also been found guilty for being obstacle in major fights. One being an obstacle in AJ fighting Deontay Wilder, and that is a absolute fact that I have to admit that Eddie Hearn has egregiously done. But what I'm showing y'all, what the prosecution won't show y'all, it's the promoters that are in the way of these major fights when it comes to these African American fighters, holding back my client Terence Bud Crawford, holding back fighters in the UK such as Kell Brook. You notice Kell Brook didn't fight but my client Bud Crawford until he was contractually free. Eddie Hearn turned his back on him and said, I don't want none of this. I wash my hands of you. You go and play by yourself, and I'm taking your training too. You go do your thing. That's how that fight happened. Before, promoters were in the way. Bob Arum was in the way. Eddie Hearn was in the way. But you just want to blame the African American. You just want to blame the African American from a small market city in Omaha.
Objection, Your Honor.
What is your objection? We got a lot of objections today, fellas.
This man been in the game. Bob Arum has been in the game for years and years, and he had multiple African Americans that he defended, that he promoted, that he got big fights for. So I think he's trying to paint this old sympathy, this sympathy feeling towards you for his client. And I just don't think it's right, Your Honor. Once again, this is the counselor way of trying to play on your intelligence.
Your Honor, what is the objection? It was all facts. The man is from Omaha, from a small market city. And he is African American.
That is true.
That is true. Your Honor.
And you're allowing him to interrupt my closing statement.
The man is rich, Your Honor.
Let him continue. Let him continue, Monty. Let him continue, brother. Go ahead.
Before I'm interrupted once again, let me just end off by saying my client should be showing leniency, and it's not just solely his cause. It's majorly the cause of the promoters. Once again, Eddie Hearn, and of course the Godfather Bob Arum, who were both found guilty in earlier episodes. And that's my statements.
Thank you. Oh, good. Your Honor, please. I'm chomping at the bit to go directly at counsel's statements. Number one, Terence Crawford re-signed, if I'm not mistaken, twice to that said promoter that he is saying is the reason that there is issues amongst him getting fights. That's number one. Terence Crawford, then, Your Honor, came out and said, I'm the boss. The promoters work for us. They work for me. They work for you. Stop using the promoters as an excuse. They work for you, dummy. His words exactly. So you cannot say it is the promoter's fault when the defendant himself is saying that the promoter works for them. So then what he is essentially saying is, yes, they work for me. Yes, I know what they're doing, but I am complacent and I'm okay with allowing them to do it. So he was okay with allowing his promoter to allow him to duck fighters, is what he said. That's what he said when he re-signed with a man that he knew was holding up fights, to include Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao for 5 years. He re-signed with that man. He knew what he was doing, and he made sure he told the world he knew what he was doing, because he said the promoters work for us, so stop hiding behind them. Those are his words, Your Honor. So it's unimaginable that you can sit there and think that Terence Crawford didn't know what he was doing when he re-signed. It's unimaginable to think that Terence Crawford can have some type of sympathy on him because the promoters are doing such a bad job for him when he re-signed with them. And he said they work for him. So if they work for him, Your Honor, if the promoters work for him, then he's telling them to not get him fights because they work for him. That is the only way he wouldn't get the fights that he wants. If he's telling people that work for him to not get them for me. They work for him, correct? And you tell the people that work for you to do what you want, correct? So then what he's saying is, the promoters work for me. They work for us. Bob Arum works for me. I don't want Keith Thurman. I don't want Errol Spence. I don't want Danny Garcia. I don't want Jerome Boots Ennis. I don't want Virgil Ortiz. So I'm telling my promoter who works for me to not get me those fights because I don't want them. That's what he's saying to you. So when you run around here, have this nonsense about we should have sympathy for some, you're a boss. You told the world you're a boss. Why would I have sympathy on the boss for not getting the fights that he wants when he's the boss? Why would I have sympathy? You can make those fights. You could have gave Danny Garcia more than $3 million. You could have gave Keith Thurman. You could have negotiated with Keith Thurman to fight him instead of Kell Brook. You could have accepted the 60-40 at any time, still can, to fight Errol Spence. Still can. You didn't make any offers to Jerome Boots Ennis. You blatantly just this weekend turned Virgil Ortiz down. You turned the man down. You said, I'm not fighting him. Those are your words. Just this weekend. You don't even talk about Speedy Rashidi Ellis. You have said nothing about Ugas. Nothing. You told Sean Porter to stand back and stand by.
Objection. My client will speak to those fighters come May when he's contractually free.
That is not what.
Until then,
that's 8 fighters.
Until then, my client
what is the objection,
the right to remain silent.
Your Honor, what is the
objection? Objection. Overruled.
Okay, good. I will continue.
Proceed.
He didn't tell me what the grounds of objection are. I'll continue. I will continue.
The jury is grown restless, counsel and prosecutor. They want me to render verdict.
I got you.
If you look in the chat.
Every name I mentioned, every name are all names that the boss, Terence Crawford, can make himself because he is the boss. His words, not mine. Every one of those names are names that he refuses to fight because he is the boss and he refuses to fight them. Those are his decisions. That is his choice. So, Your Honor, I say you throw this man in jail and then you throw a jail on top of the jail that you throw him in. I don't ever want to see this dude. And then, Your Honor, I demand, Your Honor, that you strip this man of the WBO belt because he is blatantly holding up undisputed. I demand that you strip him.
Objection, Your Honor.
There is no protection here.
Overruled. I did the same thing when they were interrupting you. I did the same thing. Let him continue so we can get through this case. I want to render this verdict with all due respect.
I am wrapping this up. I will say again, I demand that you strip this man of the WBO belt and allow Virgil Ortiz and Showtime Sean Porter to fight for the WBO belt, because we know that those guys will make undisputed, which is what we claim we want, and what Counsel Oddfella says he wants lineal, because that will determine a lineal champion, Your Honor. And if Counsel says he's a man of lineal over undisputed, of which he and I have agreed, then this man should agree with BFTB to strip Terence Crawford, that Virgil Ortiz and Showtime Sean Porter fight for the WBO belt so that they can become an undisputed lineal champion, Your Honor, because this man has already said he refuses to fight Earl Spence, not even for 50-50. There is no reason for this man to hold the belt hostage. And I rest.
Now, Your Honor, may I just add one thing from my start witness? This is the end of all things right here. This man in Terence Bud Crawford himself did not think highly of his own resume. So when Kessler put all those guys up there and try to talk, right, this man himself said he is yet to fight a fighter that can solidify him as a Hall of Famer. So he know he need a Earl Spence, a Danny Garcia, a Sean Porter, a Bruce Ennis, or a Virgil Ortiz. He spoke out his own mouth. This is out his own mouth, y'all, in his own words. I still haven't had that Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hitman Hearn, Marvin Hagler fight chat. So he's saying out his own mouth, Yana, that he is yet to fight an A-level fighter that will push him, right? And that the fans will see him and say that man fought a worthy champion or a worthy challenger, Yana. And I'm going to leave it with that.
Your Honor, let the record show that you allowed.
I didn't allow anything,
you allowed two key witnesses.
Counselor, you had a chance to have a star witness present. Did I not grant you a chance to have a star witness present to make your case stick?
And I believe he was bumped out. Unceremoniously.
He wasn't bumped out. He was growing restless. But I understand, prosecutor.
I think he saw the Johnny Cochran team and he just said, fuck it, you have no chance. I think that's all it was, Ronald.
Counselor. I'm gonna render verdict. In the case of the LDBC versus Terence Bud Crawford, we find him guilty on all counts. Guilty on aiding and abetting. Guilty on grand larceny. And we want all of these sentences to run concurrently.
No,
which
I'm shooting for the
which means that we want him to do even a mandatory of 10 years minimum.
I'm asking the death penalty, Your Honor.
That's a little graphic in the state, at least in the state of New York, Monty. I'm not sure about how it is in the Midwest. That's a little.
I just want them stripped. That's all I want. I just want them stripped.
Yeah, we still kill niggas.
We did strip them. We did.
That's all I'm asking. Thank you, Your Honor. Justice is served.
He'll be going for a while. Now, salute to everybody that came through, man. We about to close it out. We're gonna do the PBC appeal. We gotta do that. Look, man. I don't know, man. We might, if we could summon it tomorrow. And I never did a weekend night court. If y'all can make it happen and y'all all down, I'll do it just for the PBC one.
Yes.
But if not, because honestly, I promise Abel next week, no matter what, we doing basketball night. So, you know what I mean?
We can always wait until the following week. That's fine.
Okay. That's dope.
As long as the appeal gets taken care of. That's
okay. All right, I hear that. I'm not mad at that. All right. BFTB, man, tell the people where they can find you. I appreciate you for coming. We wouldn't have to do these so long if my peoples wasn't really black. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm dealing with real black people. They late, y'all. I was like that when it came to parties.
It's not my fault, man. The whole electricity went off in the whole fucking block that I lived. The whole everything. Someone hit a telephone pole or something. Fucked everything up. Because everything was shut off. Everything's whole round. I couldn't do shit. Had to get in my car and fucking use my phone and dip the fuck off. Man, this shit was trash, bro. So my listen, bro. I got some videos I'm working on. Y'all already know I got a few P files that I'm gonna be uploading soon. Some Patreon shit I just dropped. So check me out on that. As far as the Crawford shit, bro, I'm glad we found the verdict the way we did. Because this man is holding up undisputed and he's holding up lineal like me and my brother Oddfella prefer to have. He's holding both of them up. You know what I'm saying? Because we could have an undisputed lineal champion and he don't want to do it. And he did fight black fighters. Yes, he did. He did fight black fighters. He did not fight black killers. He did not fight black slick fighters. You know who he fought? What's that chick name? That weird ass coon chick. What's her name?
Candace Owens.
What's her name?
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens.
Yes, that's who he fought. He fought Candace Owens. So yeah, you did fight a black person. You fought
He
Candace
damn sure did, cause that fella, I apologize. You are the best fucking actor. You are the best slime ball lawyer. Young, you had me over this joint like I was on a panel with this nigga. He never said no shit like this before. What does he talk about?
Him,
Then he said Diaz was black. I said, now I know goddamn well he saw that man with that All Lives Matter bandana on his head, and he gonna call this man a black man. Oh God, hell no, hell no.
Yeah, bro, he did a great job.
He did a great job. Hey, look. I ain't know the whole. This my first time being able to stay awake and catch y'all. Normally I'm at work, so this is the first time. So look, he did, man. Look, he did so good. Bud ain't guilty. It's a hung jury, cause insinuating circumstances.
Okay.
He just proved that case. Look, yes, Bud is full of shit. But he's stuck under the white man that's full of shit like him. Hung jury. We gonna have to do it again, retrial. It's like, nah,
yeah, see, you gotta put that, you gotta petition for that. This motherfucker.
Yeah.
He said he got a petition for that.
Look, when I saw when Matt told me, he was like, bruh, our fella don't believe that shit. Then I listened to it. I said, so he gotta argue? I said, well, goddamn, I guess that's the only shit he can say. Then when he said, but hold on. I said, well, that is true right there. He can't fight. And then BLTB backed it up by saying, he not a boss. That should be the only, look, Bud should snitch on Bob Arum, turn state's evidence
co-conspirator.
Like and then give us the fight we want.
You gonna tell all his co-conspirator. Salute to everybody coming through in the chat. A lot of people caught it mad late.
Y'all need to go back and listen. Look, BFTB and our fella just found out how we gonna get the fight. Bud has to snitch on Bob Arum. We arrest him. He can't do 10 years. He only got 3 left max. So we'll just give him. That's a life sentence.
Really, he can only do a year and a half, to be honest with you.
That's true, but we can't give Bud 10 years because that nigga be 42. Then we really won't get the fight.
Hey, you know what? I suggest, Your Honor. I suggest we give this nigga house arrest and 6 years adjudicated probation.
Damn right.
I ain't gonna lie, I hit him with everything, and I said I wanted all of them sentences to run concurrently. And concurrently means a minimum of 10 years.
Hey,
and on the East Coast anyway.
And he got to do 5,000 hours of community service.
I need all that.
No.
BFTB didn't want him out. He wanted him like that's how Renee wanted Andre. He said, "Oh, Your Honor, why is Andre getting out?" I'm like, he got to fight. We can't let him do that much time.
What you supposed to do as a defense lawyer, even against somebody who biased. You supposed to put a little bit of doubt in their mind. And I swear, when Matt told me that he had to argue that, and when he said, I swear, when he went. I mean, that's contractual. I was like, well, I can't argue that. I do know it. And then when BFTB basically stamped it, I said, God damn, I should help him right now. Tell him, hey man, if it was me, we need to get Bud on the stand, snitch, and we can win this. Odd fella, the new motherfucker Johnny Cochran. Y'all better go find him.
I was gonna tell you that on the back end, LVZ. Is not that I didn't want to let you on, but I didn't have enough time to explain all of that because I knew BFTV had to cook.
Look, hey, look.
That's why I got quiet and called him. I got quiet.
If Matt called me and told me what was, I was like, well, shit, why ain't nobody tell me? But I caught the middle of y'all. I just caught y'all in there. I was wondering why the fuck
we already started late.
Like Dennis Scott.
You a fool.
This nigga
you a fool.
I was wondering why he looked like he could call a game. I said, what the fuck, Dennis Scott on the panel? No, that's Odd Fella.
We thought we were.
You ain't seen me with this judge robe on, so what was you saying about me?
You guys see I'm on the phone. So I swear, nigga, it just looked like you came from. I said, damn, was he preaching tonight? I ain't know. It looked like you were doing a sermon. And you don't know till you know. All right, now let's go to 1 Corinthians over there. Now somebody get that collection plate.
That's crazy. My mom still always want me to be a preacher too. I was like, nah, that ain't gonna work. Salute BFTV. Salute, man. Salute, yo, man. Y'all fool. Yo, LBZ, tell them where they can find you at.
You motherfucking good acting motherfucker. Don't you ever trick me like that again.
It is what it is, bro. It is what it is. I got to defend my client. I got to defend my client.
God, nigga, if I'm ever, I don't give a fuck, I get a traffic ticket. That nigga, the light shouldn't have ever been red. I think it was.
It's the wrong shade of red.
Hell yeah.
Man, LVZ, tell them where they can find you at. Yeah, man.
They can find me on LVZ NBA Talk and find me here with y'all some nights. Find me with Matt. Find me with all of y'all. I know what I do. I bounce around with y'all like the Easter Bunny, so it's all good.
LVZ, you gonna want to be here next week?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. If you came, you actually came the wrong week. You came the wrong week. You really was
basketball night court.
You really was supposed to be summoned next week. You really supposed to be summoned next week.
Matter of fact, hold on. Let's ask LVZ right now so he can have a case. LVZ, do you got any cases on any basketball players or any team or coaches as of right now?
Right now, do I got a case? Yes, I do. I got a case on the New Jersey Nets and Kevin Durant and his fan base for excessive front running, and Kyrie Irving for excessive player hate.
All right. Also, we need. I know. So my case, I'm defending Vince Carter next week.
And Abel's prosecuting Vince Carter. Why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
I already was a key witness. Yeah. I thought
Monty
you knew
said
that.
what?
Remember, but I thought I already beat him in that debate before.
This is a Hall of Fame.
Yeah. But this is night court. This is night court.
I want to be a witness. I need to be a witness
in court too.
All right, you can hear as a witness.
All right, both of y'all can be my key witnesses.
No, for him being a Hall of Fame or not being?
Not being.
He's prosecuting. He's defending him.
I got Vince Carter as a Hall of Famer.
Exactly.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can be as your witness.
Hold up. And I got a case against the motherfucking Houston Rockets ownership.
I can't defend my Rockets. I can't.
I know. You gonna be my witness as to why we prosecuting them motherfuckers.
I will. I can do that.
Yeah, we gonna figure that out because we got to make sure we got people that could defend it and not just prosecute it. But we get at it. Yo, Mac, tell the people where they can find you at.
Man, y'all Google me. Come find me at Stay Ready Boxing TV. Just Google it. Everything gonna pop up. It's simple. It ain't hard. Hey, make sure y'all here this Sunday. I got Jenny Futch, #1 ranked USA bantamweight fighting in these Olympics. Getting ready to bring that gold medal back to the United States. And also, I'm going to have Kid Austin, Jordan Sheffield, aka Kid Austin, this Tuesday. He got something for y'all. I mean, you're gonna love it. Y'all can't miss this one. I promise you, y'all can't miss this interview. We gonna get down to some nitty gritty. It's a bunch of line going on in the sport of boxing. So y'all make sure y'all there. So y'all know it's your boy Mac with Stay Ready Boxing TV. You ain't got to get ready if you stay ready, man. Acting froze up.
Damn.
Acting froze. Oh damn.
But y'all know what it is. I'm gonna give my last words as well. You know what I mean? It was another dope night of court. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody that came through. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk earlier. Mark Nash, Moni Brown, LVZ. There go Cadillac. You know what I mean? And of course Judge Galvatron. Um, Sunday night,
Yo,
8 p.m. Eastern time is going down to the GTA Cipher Part 3. I got four new MCs coming through. Definitely. So y'all want to check that out on my channel, The Odd Fella, The World Report. You know what I mean? We got 4 MC dropping some heavy bars. I will be conducting some interviews as well, dropping some new news and premiering some videos and whatnot. So y'all check that out. Y'all know what it is. It's your favorite, your most hated Odd Fella. Salute to the whole LDBC, and I'm Gizon.
Supreme Beast, man. You there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Close us out. Tell them where they can find you out and close us out real
shit,
quick.
y'all know, man. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. You know what I'm saying? Right here on YouTube and on Instagram. We on the road to 1K. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? Come tap in. Salute to the usual suspects. Y'all already know it's your usual suspects ting. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man. Supreme Beast Boxing Talk. It's your boy Cadillac Red. I'll holler at y'all in a minute, man. One.
My man. Yo, salute to all my brothers for coming through. You know what I mean? Salute to all the guests, the key witnesses, and things like that. Salute to everybody in the chat. If you got here late, if you didn't get to watch the whole thing, it was funny as hell. This is the funniest show on YouTube. You don't know what y'all missing. Salute to the mighty LDB clan. It's your boy Act Reacher. I never steal you wrong, and I'm out. Court is adjourned.